You go to the supermarket and your usual basket of groceries costs noticeably more than it did last month. Your paycheck doesn't stretch as far, and when you look at a car loan or a mortgage, the monthly payments feel out of reach. It's natural to look for a specific cause nearby. We often assume a greedy corporation hiked the price of milk, or a bad landlord is squeezing the local housing market. Focusing on these individual decisions is the realm of microeconomics. But when everything feels more expensive simultaneously, those localized explanations fail to explain the full picture. To see what's actually happening, we have to look at macroeconomics. This requires viewing the economy as one massive connected system. Money and goods move in a constant circle. Companies pay wages to households, and those households spend that income on products, creating the demand that encourages companies to produce more. When this cycle shifts, the ripple effects eventually reach your personal finances. Learning to see these patterns is the first step towards understanding how your own budget is linked to the wider world. One of the most significant forces in that system is inflation. Inflation is the persistent year-over-year process where money loses its purchasing power, meaning a single dollar buys fewer goods than it did previously. It is important to distinguish this from a temporary price shock, like a sudden spike in oil prices. True systemic inflation persists long after those isolated shocks pass. This happens for two mechanical reasons. First, demand can outpace a country's ability to produce goods. Second, supply constraints, like labor shortages or disrupted trade routes, make production more expensive, forcing companies to raise prices to protect their margins. There is also a psychological driver. If workers expect prices to keep rising, they demand higher wages. To pay those wages, businesses raise prices in advance. This expectation creates a self-fulfilling loop. Because it eats away at the value of every dollar you own, inflation acts as a hidden tax on anyone holding cash. It changes the real value of a bank account over time, which forces people to rethink how they save and invest. To manage this, countries rely on a central bank. This is the Bank for Banks, an independent institution tasked with maintaining price stability and keeping inflation under control. Their primary weapon is the policy interest rate, which dictates the cost of borrowing across the entire country. When the central bank needs to slow the economy down, they raise this rate. Mortgages and corporate loans become more expensive, so people and businesses borrow less. This drop in spending starves inflation of the demand it needs to grow. Conversely, lowering the rate makes borrowing cheap. This encourages businesses to take out loans to expand and prompts consumers to spend, providing a boost to economic growth. Because these rate decisions flow directly into loan costs and asset prices, the central bank is the most powerful force dictating the short-term momentum of the financial system. While central banks manage the money supply, governments intervene through fiscal policy. This is the process of collecting revenue through taxes and injecting it back into the economy through public spending on things like infrastructure, healthcare, and education. During a recession, when private spending drops, governments often step in to fill the gap. They intentionally run budget deficits, borrowing money to support demand and prevent a deeper economic collapse. However, persistent deficits grow the national debt. High debt requires massive interest payments, which reduce the funds available for public services. If investors doubt a country's ability to pay this back, borrowing costs skyrocket, creating country risk. To measure the success of these policies, we look at gross domestic product, or GDP. This tracks the total value of everything a country produces over a specific period. But the true measure of growth is real GDP. Unlike nominal GDP, which uses current prices, real GDP adjusts for inflation. It strips away the illusion of price hikes to show whether a country's actual output is increasing. No single nation's economy exists in a vacuum. Every local market is exposed to the movement of global capital flows. This connects directly to exchange rates. Determined by global supply and demand, these rates dictate how much purchasing power your local currency has when buying goods or services from abroad. Investors shift money across borders relentlessly, chasing higher interest rates or seeking safety in stable currencies like the US dollar during times of political instability. This demonstrates the ultimate level of interconnectivity. Global demand for your country's debt can strengthen your currency, which in turn determines the price of the imported electronics or foods sitting on your local store shelves. These colliding forces create the business cycle, the natural, repeating rhythm of an economy. High confidence fuels the expansion. business is higher and people spend. But as the economy heats up and inflation rises, central banks eventually intervene with higher rates, leading to a slowdown. A recession is a systemic reset. While the contraction is difficult, it cools off prices and allows the system to clear out excesses, eventually leading to a recovery phase supported by lower interest rates and government spending. Investors use an economic calendar to track these shifts. By watching for CPI inflation reports and GDP releases, they can anticipate where the cycle is heading and adjust their portfolios. Developing macroeconomic literacy provides a framework to recognize the current environment and make more rational choices about your debt and savings. Once you understand these forces, economic news stops being confusing noise. It becomes a readable map, helping you navigate your financial life with confidence.